Hi everybody, my name is Dan Myers and I am here at Unami Middle School and I'm going to be working today on showing you how to connect your students' adaptive switch devices to a Makey Makey board. And this is something I've been doing in my MDS music class, and had a lot of success, and I even posted a video a couple weeks back of one of my students working with this, and I got a lot of likes and a lot of views, and people were really excited about it. So I thought I'd make this tutorial because it is very easy, if you know how, to connect these switches up to Makey Makey, and then you can actually program them to do whatever you want using scratch.mit.edu. So what we're going to be doing is finding a way. This is the Makey Makey board, and it works by generally you use these alligator clips that come with the device, and you can connect them and you can make all sorts of different things. They're very famous for making the banana xylophone. However, what I wanted to do was find a way to use this device, which can be programmed to do whatever I need, and hook it up to my MDS student switches, which use these 1/8 inch mono jacks right here. So I thought I'd take some time to show you. I found 3 different ways of doing it, and they all work, some of them better than others, so I thought I'd show you how to do that. So the first way is by using the alligator clips that come with it. So the Makey Makey works with this idea of you got up, down, left, right, and then you have space bar and click, or A button, B button, if you think of this as an old NES controller. So what you need in order to create a circuit or a signal is you need a signal wire, which in this case is our green one, and then you need a ground wire, which always get clipped to the bottom of the board here. So what we need to do is we need to take a look at how to connect up to a mono jack, which is what most of the MDS switches use, or the adaptive switches that I've seen on the market will all come with this mono jack. So what we're going to do is, if you look at this jack, there's actually a black line splitting the jack into 2 parts. There's the tip and then there's the sleeve of the jack. So the tip is always the signal. All right, so we would go green wire to the tip of the switch, and then we would actually go ground wire to sleeve. All right, now this has worked for me, and this is how I started working with my students, just very simply clipping the alligator clips to the MD switches. And then the issue is if my students moved, or if just the switch fell, it would pull the clip off. So I wanted to come up with a better way of connecting it. So my next step was I went on to Amazon and I ordered these 1/8 inch stereo female to RCA adapters. So what I did was I very simply connected this right into this switch, and then that gave me 2 very separate signal sources that I could connect to. Red is always signal, so I was able to take the alligator clip here from the Makey Makey, and I was able to do it this way. And this worked very well for me as well. It got the alligator clips away from one another, so I wasn't getting as many shorts as I was when I was using it with the just right on the 1/8 inch male adapter. So this worked really well, but for me, I decided that I was going to be using this a lot in my class, so I wanted to make a permanent adapter, and that's what I'm going to show you how to do today. We are actually going to take this and we're going to turn it into this. So we're going to have the 1/8 inch female adapter, and we're going to end up going to 2 alligator clips instead of going to 2 of the RCAs, and it's really quite simple. So I'm going to show you how to do that today, and you don't need anything except for this cable and the Makey Makey alligator wiring that comes with the boards. So the first thing that you're going to do is we're going to start with, it doesn't matter which side, red or white. Because this is a stereo adapter, it actually has 3 wires going through it. There's a black wire that goes to each side, and then there's a red wire and a white wire. We are only going to be using the red and white wires because the adapters on the student switches, they only have, I'm sorry, that's the wrong one. This is a mono adapter here. You can see it's only got the tip and the sleeve. This is a typical stereo adapter, which you would see with like your headphones. It's got left ear, right ear, and ground. So that would be red wire, white wire, and black wire. So when I bought these adapters, these are actually stereo adapters. We only need them to be mono. So we only need red and white. We don't need black at all for this setup. So you're going to see when we cut these open, there's actually two wires in each side. One of them is a common and the other two are the signal wires. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by just cutting the head off of this RCA adapter here. Now, what we want to do is we need to get to the wires that are inside here. So we do that really simply by using a razor knife. If you have a set of wire strippers, it's even better. But a lot of you out there might not have a set of wire strippers. You can just take a razor knife, a little bit of pressure here, and just roll the wire back and forth. Don't put a lot of weight on it because you'll cut right through it. So you could bend this back and forth and see if you can find your score mark. I like to just use my finger. And if it doesn't pull apart real easily, you just go back with a razor knife, rock it a little bit more. It's better to have to do this a couple times than to cut through the wire on your first try. So there we go. Now when I pulled that, you can actually see I've got the red wire here, and there's that other wire I was telling you about. That's the one that we're not going to be using. So there's a couple things that we could do with this. You could bend it back over and then electrical tape it if you wanted to, but what I very simply do is I just cut this wire off. And I do it as close to the base here as I can without cutting anything else. So that leaves me with just a red wire coming out of this end. Now you will see there is a little bit of those wires still exposed there, but that's actually quite all right because we're going to be doing something a little different with this. We're going to really gently strip this wire back, same process. Razor blade on here and roll. Okay. Now you got to be really careful when you strip these because it's really quite simple to just rip the wire apart. But you'll see there, I got a nice clean strip. We're going to twist those wires together and we're going to bend them backwards away from the exposed ground wires right there. And again, I might even come back here and trim them up a little bit and get rid of any of the kind of floating wire there. That looks pretty good. So we're going to bend this back towards the heat shrink. So that's it. That's all we're going to do for now on that one. And then we're going to go over here and do the same thing on the white side. So I cut the end off, boom, razor blade. There's the two wires. It's green on this side, green, black, same thing. I'm going to get rid of that one. Leaves me with just a white wire. And I'm going to strip that one back. There we go. So now we are ready to actually get some alligator clips and put the alligator clips on here. So we want to pick two different colors. We want to pick something to signify the signal side, which is always red, and something to signify the ground side, which in this case is white. But Makey Makey comes with all these fun kind of different colored ones. So I'm going to just use their colors since they've got a bunch of different ones. I'm going to use orange to represent the signal side, and I'm going to use gray over here to represent the ground side. So what we're going to do here is we're going to start with this Makey Makey wire, and we're going to pull the little gasket or whatever you want to call that back. And if you look at this, it's just a metal alligator clip that's been pinched onto the end of the wire. So we just want to unpinch it right now. And I do that very simply with just a small flathead screwdriver. I'm going to take that here and just lift the tab up. All right. And don't bend it back too far. Just take the pressure off the wire. And there's a second one. There's one on each side. So you got two tabs here. That's it. And then this wire very simply just slides right out. So we can save this, and we could always put these back on if you ever decided that you wanted to go back to the old school Makey Makey alligator clip wires. But for us, we want to take this gasket and this alligator clip, and that's what's going to go onto our cable that we're working on making. So since I took the gray one off here, what I suggest you do is always put this on first. It makes life so much easier. If you do forget to put this on, you can slide it on over the alligator clip later. It just takes forever, and sometimes it's just a pain. So what you're going to do is you're going to keep this wire, the copper wire is going to be against the gasket here or against the heat shrink there. You're going to keep that on the bottom. All right, you're going to slide this in, making sure we don't have any of those other wires touching it. So we're going to slide this through here, and we want a nice firm fit, not too tight. We're going to slide that up, and then, now these are crimpers, but you can use anything, needle nose pliers, whatever, and you're just going to squeeze that down, and just like that, we're finished. You got yourself an alligator clip with the gasket. Just slide that right back over it. We do that on both sides, and you've got yourself a nice stereo, or now this would actually be considered a mono female adapter to two alligator clips, positive and negative, and we can hook that right up to the Makey Makey board. I'll do that one more time here. There you have it. You now have your mono female adapters. We can connect these directly to the Makey Makey board. Ground them in down here. Same thing over here. Ground each one down at the bottom. Hook it up. And then we can actually be hooking multiple students up to this Makey Makey. And we can program each one of them to either be a different note or a different sound or a different instrument. There's all sorts of cool things that we can do. So now they are hooked up. Now the only other thing I wanted to show you today is we looked at how to make, how to connect the male adapter to the Makey Makey. Well, not every switch has a wire coming out of it. This is an example of one of our switches that we use. This is called a Big Mac, and what's great about this is our students can actually use this device to signal yes.
Yes.
And what we normally do is, for students that can't physically reach out and touch this device, that's where we use the either head switches, or we'll use it on their hand. And the device will work using this
Yes.
as an extension. So those students that don't use the smaller buttons, those that actually are able to reach out and hit this device, we can use this to actually trigger the Makey Makey as well. So what we do for that one is we don't need an 1/8 inch female adapter. We need an 1/8 inch male adapter. And I have one of those here. I actually got this from my old home theater set. This was the same thing, stereo male to RCA. I had this adapter on the end of it. I cut that off. And we can do the exact same thing on this adapter, and we can do alligator clips to this, and then you can actually plug right in here to toy/apparel, and then connect that up to your Makey Makey board with the alligators, and then this device will also function with the Makey Makey. So I like to make up a couple male adapters and a couple female adapters, because you never know if a student's switch or device changes and they come into class. If they're working with a new switch, you've got the cables that you need to hook them up. So we're going to make this, which is female to alligator clip, and then we're about to make this one up here, which is male to alligator clip, and this will just work with different devices and different switches. So I've got 6 students in my class, so I got some wiring to do. Alright everybody, so here is my finished product. I have 4 of the 1/8 inch female cables here and 1 of my 1/8 inch male cables for the Big Mac switches, and I've also got my Makey Makey board. So this is the finished setup, and we can have our students all plug into here, and then we can connect our Makey Makey through USB right to my computer, and that's where we'll start off next time. Thanks.